like pretty much right away. You'll probably actually see it before I do.
Mhm.
I might even be able to just close out my window. Can you see Facebook?
I
Do you have
can't
it
see
open?
Facebook. I have a note. It says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Okay, so we're on.
What Facebook
We're
page?
hopping on to watch the video now live. We'll be with you in just a second. I'm just closing out for feedback. And if you are catching the replay, just fast forward 30 seconds. Actually, no, we're gonna try this time. I'm just gonna close Facebook out complete. Well, no, I wanna be able to go back into it to see comments. I try to only focus on who I'm talking to so I can really listen to what you're saying, but I will go back periodically and check out Facebook and look for questions. If you have any, put them in the comments, even after this video is over. So if you're watching this video tomorrow, next week, next month, put comments and questions, type replay so that we know you were there. We can say hi to you and answer any questions that you have. So today we have April. She's going to be talking about getting back to your why, like women finding their purpose, finding their passion. I think this is a great topic. I feel like we all need to hear it. And you feel like as you get to be an adult, you think you'd figure it out more and know like who you are and what you're about. I remember being young thinking like, well, once I hit 30, I'll know. And really doesn't always work out that way. So April, how did you get into helping women find out their passion and purpose, and what does that look like?
How did I get into it?
Yeah.
Well, I can't say I got into it. It got into me.
Okay.
That might sound cliche, but it's very true. I couldn't not do this.
Mhm.
I actually used to be a music teacher, and I studied music my entire life. Sorry, I have a doggy here who might make some noise. And I taught for 9 years. And there was a day that I walked into my classroom that first day for teachers. When you come back and the desks are all pushed to the side, because I didn't have desks because it was a music room, but everything's all stored away. And I walked into my room that day and I literally almost threw up. I was done. All of a sudden, I just had this wash over me that I was done teaching, and I seriously almost gagged right there
You know,
because I didn't know
visceral
what else I was
feeling.
gonna do. It was like
Yeah.
this download that just came through
Mhm.
out of nowhere, because I love teaching and I love kids and I love music, and so I couldn't figure out why this came through me, because I felt like I was in the right place. And so from that point forward, I took that next year to really explore what I really wanted to do and what was really calling for me to step into. Now, at the same time, I was studying. I was in the middle of my master's degree in spiritual psychology. Actually, I was soon to be graduating, and I had about a couple weeks right before graduation that this happened. This walking into my classroom, and I thought that I was going to be bringing everything that I learned into my classroom and making my students and the parents and the teachers, just like inspiring people and really stepping into who they are as performers and as souls trying to come forward through music.
Mhm.
And so I was really kind of confused, like why was this happening now? I was about to graduate. And so, I saw a lot of people around me who were kind of asking some of the same questions, but I kept to myself about this. And that's one of the things that I know for me: when there's a deep, deep purpose that is calling me, I don't talk about it.
Okay.
It's kind of a secret thing. I might talk about it to a few people who I know without a doubt will support me, but I'm not out there announcing it to everybody. And that's, I think, kind of a subtle difference that, we get these great ideas about what we want to do. And I feel like it's my purpose and I'm out there and I'm talking about it. And I think there's a stage before that where we kind of incubate a little bit with it.
Mhm.
And so what I had been doing that whole year was previous to that, I had actually was going for a dream of mine, which was not to change careers. It was actually to get myself on stage.
Okay.
Now, it had been a dream of mine since I was a little girl. And I know that we all have dreams and we set them aside, or we actually diminish them because we're like, oh, that was when I was little. But this one for me was not dying. And I was hiding my whole life behind a flute, because my story is, when I was in first grade, I used to walk to school with a second grader. So I was the youngest of six kids. I knew that, I was always being told what to think, what to do. Like everybody was telling me something, and I looked up to older people. So I was walking to school with this second grader, and I used to talk to strangers on my way to school because I love people. And I was singing on my way to school. And she stopped me one day and like squared me off, looked me straight in my eyes, and she told me I had a rotten voice, that I was ugly, had a rotten voice, and a rotten smile. And I believed her.
Yeah.
You know, those things happen to us when we're kids, these incidents that we take in so deeply, and we make them kind of our standard, that that's who we are and that's what we should live up to. And you know, and whether it's conscious or not. And so I stopped singing. I would sing maybe in the closet, and when I got older I would sing in the car or by myself maybe. I had a friend tell me that I couldn't carry a pitch, I couldn't carry a tune. How could you be a music major? You know, like I had all these other incidents that really validated that this wasn't the experience, that the experience that I had was true, that I was ugly, I had a rotten voice and a rotten smile. So I hid behind a flute because I still love music. I couldn't not,
Couldn't
but
shake
I
it
hid.
completely.
Yeah, well, you know, those things that are in us, that those things that feel so purposeful, so passionate, they show up somehow, and they can usually show up as like a shadow career or a shadow passion. But like they're in there somewhere, but there's something bigger emerging. And so I stopped smiling, and I was afraid to be pretty because I didn't want people to be my friend, or I didn't want to lose people because they wouldn't be my friend because I was pretty. So I really played small for a very, very long time, until I got into this master's degree right before that day when I walked into my classroom. And in the master's program, instead of a thesis, you do what's called a life project, something that you've always wanted to do, but something got in your way. And I know we can all think of those things, you know. For some people, maybe, you know, in my class, I know there's some people who climbed the Kilimanjaro, some people who picked up musical instruments, some people who completely left their career and went for something else, and some people who adopted children, or some people who changed sexes. I mean, there is so many things that are just inside of us that we've been hiding. And so mine was to get on stage. And so I took voice lessons, dance lessons, acting classes, and my big why was so strong that even though I was the oldest person in the class, I was the most inflexible in the class, I was the worst actress in the class, though I did cry during acting class because it naturally came forward. I was so proud of myself. But I didn't have what everybody else had, but I didn't care, because what I had was my why. I knew why I was doing it. It was for that little girl in first grade.
Yeah.
So at the end of that school year, when I completed my project, my goal was not to get on stage necessarily, but I wanted to. But that wasn't in my control. What was in control was me taking all the action steps, taking the dance lessons, the acting classes, the voice lessons, working on the inside. I had mantras, I had affirmations. I was working with that little girl who was really hurt and really scared. I did a lot of the internal work. And I show up at an audition, which I could control. I can sign up for an audition and do an audition. After that, it's beyond my control. So I show up at the audition, and a girl before me sang the same song, and I didn't know enough to know whether that was okay. Should I have another song? Is it bad etiquette to sing the same song as someone else? Like, I didn't know. So I get up there, and it's kind of the stereotypical scene where there's the directors back there at their table, and I'm way over here. And I sang my song, and all I had to give him was a little resume that I didn't fudge, but I was sharing things that might lean toward me showing some musical.
You're elaborate. You're being creative.
I was very
Great.
creative. So as a music teacher, I had created a little.
Oh wait, I think I muted you. Hold on one second.
You can't hear me?
No, I could hear it. Just said mute, so I'm just curious. Hopefully we can.
Okay.
I can hear you fine, so hopefully it's all good.
Okay,
Sorry,
great.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. So
That's
you
okay.
created your resume.
My resume, yes. And at the bottom of the resume, I had written that I had created a little show for first graders. And I played the part of the teacher. Like, that was my talent.
That was your life creation. So yeah.
That was all I had for experience. So anyway, I get done singing, and the director looks at my resume, and he's like, "So have you been in a show before?" And I walked to the table, and I was kind of like, "Well, I was in this one right here." And he looked down at it, and he looks up at me, and he looks down again. Then he takes his glasses off, and he looks at me, and he goes, you mean to tell me you've been hiding this voice for that long? And
Mm,
I just about cried on the spot. Like, that was the most powerful thing anybody had ever said to me. I
mhm,
did. I had been hiding that for so long. And I drove home screaming all the way down the highway because I was just like, I had been transformed. Like, I did it. I overcame all of that. And that was a part of a purpose for me, was expressing my voice, was sharing my voice in a way that serves others. And I didn't know it at the time, but when I was 3 years old, I had a spiritual experience, which I call it now, but I didn't know then, on my third birthday. And I came outside after the birthday party and I wanted to show my new toy to my friends, the tree, the sky, and the grass. Like that, those were my friends.
mhm,
And I remember thinking when I went out there, wow, life is so great.
mhm.
Why doesn't everybody get that? Like, I knew everybody didn't get that. And in that moment, I knew, like, there was again a download that was like, I was here to help show people how great life was.
Mhm.
Now, that can sound really grandiose, but it became a compass for me. And I had to go through iterations, which I think we forget, that if we have a sense of purpose, we will go through iterations of it. It might sound grandiose. So I was like, hey, I'm here to show everybody how great life is. And I was trying to transform my family, which you and I know we can't change.
It's a hard task to take on. But I
Especially
have to say, even though it's a grandiose like passion, I have to say, like, not everybody has that one. So I feel like that's part of like seeing, like, you might feel like this is weird or crazy, but like not everybody has it. So that means it's meant to happen. Does that make sense?
it's, I think it's interesting because I contributed to a book called Living Your Purpose,
Mhm.
and with Sunny Dawn Johnston and friends. And after I wrote that, I actually got clearer about purpose. I mean, I had a deep sense of it, a deep experience with it, based on that first grade experience, the getting on stage experience, and the 3-year-old experience of knowing what I was here to do. But at the same time, I think it's really important to remember that what we feed grows. And you can focus on anything, and whatever you focus on is what you're going to get.
Mhm.
And for me, that is just something that I focused on because it brought me alive.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of things that bring us alive. And there's some people like me who happen to know when we're really young what we're here to do. I told my dad in fourth grade I was going to be a music teacher when he came to take my flute away because I never practiced.
Mhm.
And that was because I had that deep compass, that deep sense of purpose.
Mhm.
Some people's compass kind of moves around, and that's okay.
Mhm.
I don't think that purpose has to be, I have that goal, that destination, and that's what I'm striving for. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily think we all are born with that one knowing. I
Okay.
think some of us are just have multi passions and multi purposes, where if we follow that in our heart, we're making a positive impact on in our world and on those around us and on our planet. So
So it
I
can
see
change.
people,
So you're saying like your purpose
I
and your
do.
passion can change through your years. Some people have one, and then some people could move from one to the next through a lifetime.
For sure. And along the way, what I've been taught is that, in a way, there is no purpose. What there is are possibilities.
Mhm.
And if you feed those possibilities, they will grow. And if you feed them from a place of groundedness, of joy,
Mhm.
then that will grow. And isn't that what we all want here in our
Oh,
life experience? So I hate to see people get really attached to what purpose is, but
mhm.
you can have these experiences and follow them and feel the aliveness come through you. After I had been on stage for a number of years and won a couple of awards here in Austin,
Mhm.
I was kind of done.
You're like, check. What
It
was more does
it,
life have to
it
do
wasn't
kind of thing?
conscious. Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't conscious that it was like check, but it was like it was like Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this in Big Magic. When something comes in you and like it inspires you to do something, eventually it's going to move on to somebody else. If you don't participate with it, it will find, it's like energy, it will find participation somewhere. I participated with it. I filled my cup with it, and that cup was full. So I moved on, and I began teaching others how to get their purpose and how to find that path for themselves, to go for their dreams, and really have an anchored plan on how to do it, just like I did, so that you can live from that place and bring that to those that are most meaningful to you.
what would you suggest women? So I know for me, like where I am in my life, kids, family, work, we tend to kind of step back a little bit from what our purpose is, thinking maybe they're a little bit too much time, too much
Right,
money, too much,
right.
just it's too much. So what would you say to women like myself and women here? How do you continue to work and not lose yourself towards your person or your passion or what you feel that you should be doing at the time, like
I
without
mean,
having that struggle?
when you have all of that going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had this conversation. I just completed our Sacred Start Challenge. It's a program that I do. And I just finished last week, and it'll be offered again in January or February. And what came forward from that were the moms who were like, I'm so busy. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm working this many hours and I got to get up at this time and I got to get my kids ready and then sent to the babies. And then when I come back, it's like, where's the time for me? And I can relate to that. I remember rocking my child in the rocking chair, who's a very highly sensitive child, very demanding, would never go to sleep. And I was just at my wit's end. And I thought, I'm going through this day in and day out. There's no time for me.
Mhm.
And I decided in that moment, I have these moments of just suddenly deciding, I can't live like this and I'm not going to.
Mhm.
Like in that moment, I raised my standard. Like, this is not an okay way to live for me. So
Mhm.
I think coming from a really clear decision is a start. And then from there, I started doing things while I was with my daughter, while I was, participating in all these things that I do. So if we think we can't set aside the time,
Yeah.
then you do the practices while you're doing what you're doing. And that's what the Sacred Start was all about. It wasn't necessarily about setting time aside in the morning, 15 to 20 extra minutes of journaling or meditating, which is great if you can do that. But some of us are just really, the reality is that we have children who are waking us up in the morning instead
I
of,
might be one of that women.
yeah, right? Right?
I always get it in my day, but I've stopped trying. I maybe sometimes in the morning, but I stopped trying so hard at it that it becomes a chore or becomes stressful, but I get
Right.
it done. I've made a decision like this needs to be in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
think that decision helps you to navigate through the times when you're like, I have to get this done, because we don't want to enter into the energy of have to. We want to do it because we want to. And sometimes we're in the it's like working out. I want to work out and I want that kind of body, but I'm still in the I want to phase.
So how do you get out of that I want to phase? What would you say?
I'd say you really, you got to get over yourself at some point and really just sit down, take the time, make the time, keep a journal in your bathroom. I don't care. You've got to put yourself in front of your newer self in some place, whether that's on the rocking chair. You can use your phone and start, talking into your phone while you're nursing your baby. I mean, you can do it. You're sitting on the toilet, have a book in there that inspires you. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding.
No, yeah, I agree. Yep.
Here,
Mhm.
you've got
Sometimes that's
to
the quietest place in the house is in your bathroom. So if you have to go to the bathroom
right,
multiple times to get get yourself
yeah,
started, I agree. I totally agree.
right. And so it is about making yourself a priority and having faith that making yourself a priority, like instead of it's like we tend to have more faith that our busyness will bring us joy
Oh
than
yeah,
having
that's
faith
huge.
that our self-care is going to bring us joy.
Mhm.
So it's, I have people who would like sign up for the challenge and then take the material, the free meditation, the free Sacred Start checklist that I have. And then I don't see them. And then I hear from them later and like, I didn't do it. I don't have time for this. You know, that's a decision. Those aren't people I think who are really, really ready to go. It's like I had somebody who wrote me and said, I want to do this. I started doing it, but my schedule changed, but I still want to do this and I'm overwhelmed. That in itself, sorry, my dog,
It's
that
okay.
in itself is a decision that you want to step forward. And I just want to remind people that in spiritual practice, D minus passes. Our spirit, our universe, God, whatever you call it, is very merciful. It's, you take a step
Mhm.
and the universe will fill it in. But
Mm.
if we're sitting here saying that I can't and I won't and I don't, and that's a decision too.
Yeah.
So that's why I created my self priority project, the 90-day program that I have. It's for women who are like ready to take those dreams off the shelf, to stop thinking in those ways, but they don't know how and don't know where to start. And we create that plan and we create that accountability and we create that place from our soul rather than a checklist of, I've got to knock this out today and this out today and this is who I want to be. Check, check, check.
Mhm.
How do we get back to that? It's asking ourselves simple questions and calling BS on ourselves and literally taking even 5 minutes to get started.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
never heard that before, that the D minus passes in spirituality. And honestly, it makes so much sense because it really isn't about being perfect or being this. It, I think we're missing the point if we're trying to do this in like a beautiful manner. It's about like expanding and growing and working towards what fills us up. So
Sure, for sure.
I loved that. That
Hmm.
was great. So I mean, I feel like you're pretty in tune. Would you say your body gives you any information? You kept saying like you had a visceral feeling, or you like, I feel like that you talked about it throughout as we talked here. Is that something that people can use as a guidance point? Like how you
If they
feel
want
about
to,
something? Yeah.
if they want to. I mean, I watch my daughter. I have a daughter and a son, and my son is very quick to say, "I feel like this doesn't feel right for me."
Mhm.
Or he hears something that doesn't sound right, and he pays attention to that. My daughter, on the other hand, because she's a big feeler, she shuts down and doesn't want to feel, so she steamrolls right over it.
Mhm.
And I think I see a lot of people do that, where we just bulldoze right through the information we're given right now. I mean, we're constantly given information. The universe is constantly talking to us.
Mhm.
It's up to us to really listen and to choose that. And if we're not doing that, then we're choosing something else. We can only be loyal to one chief, and the chief you listen to is the one that's going to win.
Mhm. I agree. This was great. I really love this. So if you so the Sacred Start program, you said that's not available right now, but if someone would
No,
want to
but
reach you or learn more about what you do, where can
yeah,
they?
you can go to my the temporary website I have up right now. The other website is being updated, but all the information should be on there. You just click around and find your way around. But the Sacred Start, you can I can send you the link and you can post it to your group.
Oh,
And that is, we're about to flip that off because at the end of this week is when it shuts down. So
mhm.
the system is still on. You can get in, and therefore you'll be put on a waiting list, but there won't be any access to the material just yet. But if you want to be on the waiting list, you can do that. So I'll send you that link and you can take a look at that, or go to aprildodd.com for the Self Priority Project and the other programs that I have. Sacred Start is not on there. It's just a little freebie one-off that I've done that will not be free this spring. The first group ran through it and they were generous enough to give their time and attention, and so they always get it free. And I do stuff like that all the time. The first round gets it free. So if you're on my waiting list, you do get a lot of notification for the freebies that I do that come out. I always do them free first and then they're charged later. So it's a really great experience to jump on in early.
Awesome. Is
Yeah.
there anything else that you'd want to share?
On the topic of purpose, I just want people to just be gentle. Just be gentle with yourselves. If you're feeling tension about not having purpose, then maybe your purpose right now is to alleviate that tension. Just pay attention and just be at ease. You have possibilities, and that's what's important.
Mhm. I agree with that. I feel like sometimes almost even taking your attention once in a while away, like they always said, the best ideas come in like the shower because you're not like tight, like so tight around what you
Right?
want. You can like allow it to come through versus being
Sure.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it. This
Sure.
was such a great conversation. I appreciate you giving your time and your story. And I'm sure someone's going to listen to it and it's going to resonate and be exactly what they need to hear. So thank you
Beautiful.
so much, April. I'm going to
So
shut
welcome.
down again. Anybody, if you had any questions during this or any comments, put them in the comments below and we will see them. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.
Bye,
Oh,
everyone.
my mouse is over here. Bye.